I'm Mohammad Jarrahi. I'm an associate professor here at SILS. And my background is in public administration, information systems, and information science and technology. I did my undergraduate in my home country, Iran, public administration. Then I went to London School of Economics, focusing on information systems, but a socio-technical social approach to study of information system. Then went to Penn State. And along the way, my advisor decided we did not have enough snow in central Pennsylvania, so we moved up to central New York. And I finished my degree in information science and technology at Syracuse High School. My research is primarily focused on social and organizational informatics. More specifically, I study the intersection of the use of information communication technology and new forms of work and organizing. Here at SILS, I teach classes that look at the implications of information and information technologies for organizations, for organization behavior, and how we conduct work. My doctoral dissertation was about the role of social media, social technologies in fostering knowledge sharing within and across organizations. But later, I got interested in more of flexible work arrangement. When I started here at SILS, even though my PhD work and my previous research was more focused on traditional form of organizations, big organization consulting firms, all within the under the umbrella of knowledge intensive organization, I got interested in new forms of work, specifically what we call flexible extra-organizational work that happens at the edge of the organization with less dependence on organizations. Organizations are still relevant, but people come up with interesting relationship with organization. For example, they become spatially flexible. They move around a lot. They may not come to the office. And pre-COVID, that wasn't as big of a norm, but now everyone is working from home. Temporal flexibility, when you work in different hours, not necessarily 9 to 5, again, another marker of flexible organizations. I'm not an organization scientist per se, but so that means I didn't just want to study these organizations and organizational dynamics. What I wanted to study was the role of information communication technologies, how we share knowledge in these new settings. A couple of empirical examples are mobile workers. I started studying mobile workers, people that are also known as sometimes nomadic worker in the previous research, people that move around, people that go and conduct work from different places, coffee shops, airport lounges, during flights. Increasingly, co-working spaces are becoming central spaces for mobile workers and people who do not work from a central office. And again, for these people, technology, information technology in particular, is a very central thing in enacting what they call mobile office. Whenever I ask them about how you define your office, always the answer had a very important, crucial technological component to it. Along the same line, I got interested in a population called digital nomads. A recent survey shows about 5 million independent workers use that moniker to describe their work setting. People that are extreme in their mobility. They go to different places, sometimes following the same nomadic patterns, staying in warm places during winter and going to hot places. And well, I said that the other way around anyway. So people that move around a lot, many of them have given up the notion of a fixed space. Many of them do not have a house. That sounds pretty exotic. And what I want to understand was how we can learn from these people and their mobility and their use of technology, how they share knowledge. Now that they are not affiliated with a single organization, what are the tools, what are the communities that they use to share knowledge, because knowledge sharing is so important in any type of work setting, particularly knowledge intensive organizations. And you may think COVID has come up as a really, really big stumbling block for these people. That is true because we are less mobile. Everyone is less mobile. But right now we see another dynamic. Some places like Barbados are issuing visas for remote workers to go and stay. Now that you can work from everywhere, why not working from a really nice, interesting place rather than your, I don't know, your basement with your children. Many of these people do not have children, of course. Digital nomads are from specific demographics. Studying digital nomads, I got interested in gig workers because most of them were gig workers. They were getting jobs. They were doing their work from websites like Upwork. So I studied how gig work, particularly digital platforms, transform the work that we do, knowledge-intensive work. But specifically high-skill type of work, what we call online freelancers, because the previous study of gig work, we're focused on mostly low-skill workers like Uber drivers or Amazon mechanical turkers. But Upwork and platforms like Fiverr have a very different socio-technical dynamic. So I want to study the digital platform itself as a place of work, but also as a new form of organization. These platforms, they have very interesting dynamics like algorithmic management. The role of middle managers as means of coordination in organizations are now being replaced by algorithms. Another thing that I studied and we published about was the concept of gig literacy. I'm always interested when people go and do workarounds. They go creative and use systems, technologies, in this case, digital platforms, in a way that were not intended by the designer, by the managers, organizers, and owners of the platforms, and how they develop those understanding to their benefit. These platforms are huge. You are competing with thousands of other workers in the same sectors. So it's essential to develop some skills, some ways to understand how algorithms work, how you get listed, because if you are not listed in the first page when people search certain keywords, probably you are not very visible, and you're competing with many other people. So we developed this concept of gig literacy, meta skills that people use to make themselves distinct, and I call them meta skills because it doesn't matter if you're a yoga teacher or you're a web designer, you need to understand these sets of skills, like self-presentation on these platforms, which can be quite delicate and sophisticated. My final lines of work are about the use and implications of artificial intelligence in organizational work context. Now we are dealing with a new wave of AI that is making inroad into knowledge-intensive, cognitive, more tacit types of tasks. This is very different from the raw skills, raw types of tasks that were automated like 20 years ago. Now AI is doing interesting work. The new emerging deep learning algorithms, they have very interesting implications for the type of knowledge work that we do. So I'm very interested in implications of these cognitive technologies. Now, a very dominant discourse in the literature and in the among practitioners is the wholesale replacement. Everyone is worried about that. Some of the managers are very excited about people being replaced by algorithms. Evidence shows that that's not happening. And my work and work of some other scholars have, for that reason, have been focused on understanding of a partnership, what I call human AI symbiosis. How we can partner, what are important things we need to learn as human in that partnership. As educators, what type of skills we need to nurture among our students. And specifically, what is our competitive advantage as humans? What are the things that we should give up? Earlier on, when calculators came up, we didn't teach some of those skills. Calculators will do a better job of doing those types of tasks. Now with these smart technologies, we need to figure out what are the things that we are uniquely positioned to do as humans, and what are the things that we should assign to our partner. But also we need to understand how we can teach our partner and what we can learn from our partner. Looking forward to working with you about these topics. Feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.